The Cairngorms Mountains in Scotland are one of the most arduous places in the UK. They hold the highest level of ground, above 3,000 feet and also 4,000 feet, and it's here where the lowest temperature was recorded at minus 27 degrees Celsius in Braemar, and where the highest wind speeds were recorded at 176 miles an hour on Cairngorms. They also hold 5 of the 6 highest mountains in Scotland.
Hello, welcome to another video, and hopefully you can see behind me. I'm not sure if it's coming out or not in the camera. You see the snow-capped Cairngorms, and up there are 5 of the 6 highest mountains in Scotland and 5 of the 9 mountains that are over 4,000 feet, and I'm hoping to get round them all. Wasn't expecting this late snow, that might make things a bit more tricky, so the winter gear has been packed, but yeah, I'm hoping to do it over 3 days. And yeah, we'll see we'll see how the weather pans out, but for now it's looking nice and things are looking good, so I shall bring you back later on. That's me scrambling up the first sort of landmark, Calamine Gap, or the Chameleon Gap as I call it. So sometimes that's how my brain works, it sees the things written down, but a wee bit of grade one scrambling over the boulders there. Path most of the way, depending on how you do it. I think this was a glacial feature, maybe I want to say a flood, maybe burst through and gouged the landscape. I'm not sure, but there has been, just to be a note to the wary, in the winter there has been tragedies here. Avalanches have swept people down here, or caught people down here. I think there were multiple fatalities, and it just looks such a benign little slope. But yeah, do be wary of those sorts of situations. But yeah, it goes on a wee bit further through here, so I need to watch where I'm putting my feet. So I'll bring you back when I'm at the end of the gap, and hopefully at that point we'll be able to see my first target of the day, and hopefully a high camp on the 3rd highest mountain in Scotland. But for now, let's just get the camera away and concentrate on getting across this boulder field. Let's go. I just thought I'd bring you back. I'm through the gap. I've been going for about over an hour, and I've done 5 kilometres and 300 metres of ascent. Anyway, I thought I'd spin you around and show you. I can see kind of where I'm going to the first top, and it's over here. Let me just see if you can see the path coming down here, but it's going to go up this shoulder here and then into the snowy mountains, and up there is, well, I think the first peak's actually called Shron na Larrig, and I might try and camp there. I'll see how it is. I might continue up onto Brer Erich, but it is meant to be misty up there tonight. Hopefully tomorrow it'll clear. We'll just see how we get on. It might be a bit breezy and cold, but yeah, it looks kind of foreboding with the snow and the dark clouds, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's just get up there. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pool with this big pack on. It's the 3rd highest mountain, as I said, in the UK. So without further ado, and stop procrastinating, Murray, I think we need to get going. So let's get cracked on. Oh, right, it's so nice walking up here. A bit more rocky now, but the paths are just lovely. Anyway, I am about to leave spring and head back into winter. And I'll just show you, I'll need to spin you around to show you exactly what I mean by that. Yes, you can probably see the mountain behind me. This is actually Brer Erich, and there's big corries over here. In fact, I camped in one of those a few months ago with Ian Cameron when we went to see the last of the snow from last year. I'll put a link to that video in the description below, but you can see it's pretty wintry, so with it being wintry I'm going to get my winter garb on. It's getting a bit cold as well, so time for a woolly hat, gloves and a warmer jacket. Let's get that on.
Certainly was getting cold, so I got the extra layers on, and I was actually a bit worried about the underfoot conditions, not just for walking and the extra effort going through the snow, but also for trying to find a pitch for the tent.
Whew, tell you what, Wind's picking up a bit. It looks right dark over here. Summit's over here. It's kind of coming and going out of the cloud. So I'm undecided yet whether to camp right in the summit or maybe somewhere around about here. Lots of snow though, which is good. It might flatten things out. It might give me something to drink as opposed to try to find a water source as well. So yeah, it's coming up for 6 now. I want to really be looking for a pitch before 7, and it'll give me time to get the tent up before it gets dark. Don't know if I said or not already, but this is actually the Easter weekend, so goodness knows when I'll get around to editing this. But yeah, they do say it's more likely for a white Easter. You're more likely to get a white Easter than a white Christmas and all that. So here we are. Certainly a white Easter for me. Right, I'll bring you back once I found a pitch. Oh, let's go. Oh. Right, I'm just about entering the clouds. I don't know if you can see. I was going to maybe find somewhere around about here because it was out of the cloud, but although I'm in the cloud, it's kind of been breaking up a wee bit. I don't know if you can see. There's kind of hints that it might break up, so I might head on and get up to the summit and have a look and see if I can pitch there, because it's be a nice place to pitch on the 3rd highest peak in Scotland, wouldn't it? Anyway, I think that's what I'm going to do. About 50 metres of ascent to go. Probably about half an hour film there, so I'll bring you back on the top of Brer Eric. Yeah. Oh, right. I'm not too far from the summit. In this spot here, there's hardly any wind. And it looks quite flat. There's loads of snow, but if I can get my pegs in, I think this could be the spot for the tent. I'm going to pack down the snow with my feet and clear a bit and try and get the tent up here. Yes, decision made. Let's do it. Oh, I need something to eat though. Starving. So what I'm doing is just trying to compact the snow down, and it's a wee bit high in the middle, so just going to get the axe. This is just so my head and my back isn't arched. Try and level it out a wee bit. My head's going to be up this way, I think, so. I've got tent set up, there we go, I don't know if you can see it. I'm melting some snow to get some water for my, I think it's macaroni and greens it's called. I'm looking forward to it, but a funny feeling this is going to be a really spectacular pitch. If it clears, I'll take you over to this wee viewpoint here. It was kind of clear a minute ago, but I think the clouds come in again. We're not far from these magnificent cliffs. I don't know if you can make them out. And way down yonder, a big corrie. Just over there, you can't make it out. That's the summit of Brer Eric. So yeah, it's not a bad spot, is it? Not bad for Easter. But we've got a wall of snow around the tent to try and protect it from the wind. It's a wee bit breezy every now and again, so yeah. Wasn't really expecting that, but I'll take it. And it's nice having the snow to use as water. I don't have to go looking for a water source. So I'll bring you back if it clears. If not, I'll probably bring you back after I had some tea, because I need to concentrate on that. I'm having hot chocolate tonight as well, which I'm really looking forward to. Right, I'll bring you back in a wee while. Oh, I tell you what, it is freezing. My feet are like blocks of ice. I've got hand warmers in, but yeah, the clouds cleared once or twice, and I've managed to get sort of views over to the summit. I'm really not far. I think I'll be there in about 5 or 10 minutes when I get packed up tomorrow morning. But sometimes you think you've maybe bitten off more than you can chew, and I was certainly feeling that coming up, breaking trail. The snow was, there's not that much snow, but you know what it's like when it drifts into the hollows. It was up to my knees in places, so it made it a bit harder, and I've got a lot of miles to do big day tomorrow. I'm hoping to do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tops. One of which isn't a 4,000 footer, but I want to do it anyway. But I'll talk about that tomorrow. Hopefully this wind will die down a wee bit. And hopefully when I wake up in the morning, the cloud will have cleared so I can show you the views and where I am. Just a magnificent big quarry below me. But yeah, for now I'm going to retire and I'll see you guys in the morning unless anything happens that I need to come back and tell you about. I don't think it will. We're going to zip up the tent and see you later. I woke with some soft light filling the tent and popped my head out of the tent door to this magnificent scene. And when I turned the camera around to see that I was above the cloud, well, let's just say the footage here doesn't do justice to how quickly I I shifted out of my cold tent and warm sleeping bag. And I was in so much of a rush I didn't actually put my over trousers on, so apologies for the shots of me in my leggings, but anyway, I'll let the footage do the talking for itself. It was just wonderful. Good morning. It's about 10 to 6 and I woke up just with the realisation it was quite light, and I poked my head out the tent just before sunrise and the skies were just beautiful and pink. Hopefully I've caught some of it. I just got up in time for the sun coming up, which is now just breached the horizon, but let me take you over here and show you what I've woken to. It's just absolutely fabulous. And I'm so glad that I made that effort to come just that wee bit higher. So I'll just stand on this precarious rock and I'll spin you around. Look at this, and there's the sun. I'm literally just above the cloud. And there's another couple of the 4,000 foot peaks poking out. And there's the third highest mountain there, Brer Eric. Absolutely fabulous. So it's just the mountains over 4,000 feet, which are poking their heads above the clouds, which is appropriate for this trip. Fabulous. Oh, this is wow, this is what it's all about. Right, I'll bring you back later on. I'm going to get some coffee and just sit and chill in the tent. Today's a big day. I've got a lot of mountains to climb, so I'll bring you back soon. It was just one of those mornings. There was zero wind, so even though it was below freezing, it was actually quite comfortable. And yeah, I just had my coffee and took as much footage as I could. It's not often these sorts of mornings come around, so I hope you enjoy the views. Still not had my coffee. I've just been taking pictures and footage, but I thought what I'd do is just give you a quick tour of the mountains, the 4,000 footers that we're going to be going round, because I can see them all now and I'm scared that this cloud might rise. Might not, might stay here all day, but let's just show you where we're going. So the first one is here. Brer Eric, there, we'll be there in no time once we get the tent down. Next up is this one, which is Scurin Lochanoon. Then just beside it is Cairngorms there. I'm actually going to head over the back of Cairngorms to a wee Monroe, which isn't a 4,000 footer as well, hopefully. Then round to the second highest mountain in Scotland, which is Ben Macdui, which I might camp on actually tonight. And then round here, I don't know if you can see it, is Cairngorms. So that is the route. Doesn't look too difficult, does it? But anyway, for now, as I say, I'm just going to chill. It's just beautiful and take it all in. Absolutely fantastic. What a morning. Happy Easter, Murray. This is better than any chocolate egg. Right, shut up. Let's get this coffee on. Coffee wasn't really needed because I was on a high from these conditions. If you know, you know, and if you've been out in these sorts of conditions, you know how it gets you going. Anyway, I did melt some coffee, or melt some water for the coffee, and got brewed up. Okay, right, so getting the tent down now. It's not even 8 o'clock yet, but I'm going to get going just because it'll be nice and quiet earlier on. And these being Munros and the highest Munros in the country, and it being Easter Sunday, I think it might be quite busy. So yeah, I'm going to get going. It's going to be a big day today, as I said. I think I'll probably do 4 of the 5 and then try and find somewhere to pitch. But we'll see. I'll maybe talk a wee bit more about the cairngorms and also the peaks, because there's more than 5, but there's only 5 classified as Munros. I think there'll be more tops. Anyway, I suppose it depends on what you classify as a mountain, but I think the sun's going to come out again in a minute, and the views are just stunning. This layer of cloud I'm just on top of has just made my day. So I'm going to get the tent down. I'll probably bring you back. I'll do a wee bit to camera when I get to the top of Brer Erich, which won't take me long, and you'll see me in just a minute up there. Right, let's get this tent down. Right, there's one last wee view there, like, over the cloud. That's where I'm heading there. It's starting to break up a wee bit. I've got the tent down now, I'll show you. Oh, just over here you can see the wee snow wall I built. Actually worked quite well. It was a wee bit breezy last night, but yeah, it dropped during the night, so I mean, there's no wind at all at the moment. I might have to take this jacket off when the sun comes out, in fact. But it's wonderful. Right, let's get going. Summit number 1, Brer Erich. Let's get up there. Here we are. I'm not far from the summit to Brer Erich now. It's hardly taken any time at all. Probably about 5 to 10 minutes from the camp spot. And it's lovely. Let me just spin you around to the summit, and I'll show you the 3rd highest peak, top. Oh, how's that for sod's law? Wee bit of mist. A wee bit of mist coming in just as I'm reaching the top. Oh, it's icy, icy. Wow, what a spot. You see out west the sun's shining over towards the Nevis range. But what a spot this is. I'm not going to linger too long because I've talked a wee bit about it. I want to get on a wee bit. Still a lot of walking to do, so yeah, I'll bring you back. Bring you back and maybe do a bit to camera the 2nd peak. Scuran Lochanuin. So let's get down there. What a place to be though. It's just magical. Nothing beats these conditions. Nothing. A good inversion, a wee bit of snow, and the sun's going to come through in just a minute. So right, back down this way and round. So I'll bring you back en route to the 2nd 4,000 foot peak. Let's go. So I headed off the summit of Brer Erich, and yeah, the plateau walking, once you've gained the height onto the Cairngorm plateau, it's really quite nice. It's there's not too many steep slopes and gentle gradients, and at this point the cloud was still below me, so visibility was good. Oh right, I'm on, I think, another top, which is over 4,000 metres. I think it's called Carnacreesh or Carnacreeshi, or apologies for the pronunciation, but this isn't classified as a Munro. I'm not even sure, it must be a top, but just to show you just again about the classification. Anyway, I thought I'd just pop here. I've just been over to a bigger cairn over there and I looked at the map. I think this is the top here, so either or, I've come onto the top of it. Next up, Scuran Lochanuin. God, I can't talk. Which I think means peak of the Green Lochan. Lovely. Right, I think I might have to delayer. I'm getting kind of warm. Let's get to the top here. So as can often happen, as the sun was coming up, it was starting to, the temperature was changing and the cloud was starting to lift, so it was coming and going.
What wasn't coming and going was the deep snowdrifts, and that was adding to my effort in walking. But anyway, I got to the wee top and delayered, but then headed on again as the cloud again descended. But yeah, it was nice enough, and after a while that cloud was starting to lift above me and I was getting below it.
Oh, that's me drop down beneath the cloud. It's kind of rising. As I said earlier on, sometimes that can happen. Other times the inversion can stay put, but I suppose at this time of year, we're well into April, towards the end of April actually, it's a late Easter this year. Anyway, the sun heats the cloud up and yeah, it starts to rise. Hopefully it's going to keep on rising and we'll start to get views from the summit. But yeah, look at this. I mean, the corries here are just magnificent. This corrie behind me is the corrie that Ian Cameron took me to on the Sphinx snow patches over there somewhere, which is one of the last patches of snow usually to melt. In fact, it was in situ for decades and decades until recently. Anyway, the corries here are the most impressive features. I've said that before. Anyway, up we go, still in the cloud up there. Scour and Lochanuan. So I'm just going to take my time and see if this cloud lifts by the time I get up there. What a place this is. Pretty remote as well. Wow, right, let's boogie. Well, the cloud's coming and going, but the sun's starting to break through. I think it's going to be a beautiful day. Glad I've got my sunglasses. Anyway, I'm not far from the summit now, so I'll report back when I get to the top. The top. Sod's Law, again, the clag's coming just when we're reaching the top. Scour and Lochanuan. I'll have a wee seat here, a wee rest, might have a bit of chocolate. Give myself some energy. Well, this peak's 1258 metres, and I should really have been doing everything in old units, and seeing as it's the 4,000 feet peaks, but I'm not. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's one of the top 6 mountain-sized mountains in the UK. I can't remember which one it is. I'll put it up here, and you know, there's not a breath of wind here, which is not something you can say in these peaks, especially the ones which are so high, because usually you get a wee bit of wind. Anyway, I am going to have, let me see if I can find, surprise surprise, a Scotch egg, an Easter egg. Is there any finer Easter egg in the country right now? I don't think so. So yeah, I'm going to have this, and if the views come back out, I'll maybe get the drone up and show you some views. Hopefully. Oh, spin round. Right, I've had my my Scotch egg. I don't know if you'll be able to see. You can see the next peak there, Cairngorms. And then this wee one on the right hand side of your picture, I don't know if you can make it out, that's the Devil's Point. That's not a 4,000 foot peak, but it's a Munro, and I'm going to head up it because I've only been up it once before. But I can tell you, I've got a list of the highest mountains here. Number 1 is Ben Nevis. At number 2 it's Ben Macdui, which we'll be going to hopefully today. I'm not sure if we'll make it that far, but let's see. Number 3 is Breareach, which is where I camped last night. Number 4 is Cairngorms, which is the next peak, so I'll be heading up there next. And number 5 is actually Cairngorms, which is the one I was on before here, that one with the wee cairn where I delayered, although that'll just be a top. Number 6 is this one, Scour and Lochanuan. Number 7 is Cairngorms, which is again hopefully where I'll be ending the journey tomorrow. And then 8's Anachbeg, 9's Anachmore, 10's Cairngorms, 11 Cairnmore, and so on and so forth. So there you go. Actually, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 7 highest tops I'm going to, which is amazing. So yeah, what a spot! What a spot! Need to get going though. Let's go soon. That cloud was now lifting above the summits, which had once been below them when I woke this morning. So anyway, I was keen to get going, so I headed off towards Cairngorms, another 4,000 foot peak. But the views were just spectacular, and I could see where I was going for the rest of the day as well. Okay, so I'm halfway up Cairngorms. I think actually I've only done this one once as well, and the reason I was thinking I'd maybe done this one 2 or 3 times, but actually I was getting mistaken because Angel's Ridge, Scuran Loch Anune is also known as the Angel's Peak, I think. Anyway, this on the skyline here is Angel's Ridge. You can see the Lochan down there. And the last time I was up these peaks, I came up the scramble of Angel's Ridge with my brother, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And we walked back over Brer Erich and out that way. But these ones, the Devil's Point, in fact the 4 of them I think I did from Derry Lodge to the south many moons ago in my 20s. And I think that's the only time I've done them. So this will be a second ascent of Cairngorms and the Devil's Peak when I get around to it. So, but what a place. You can see this, above the Lochan are the cliffs of Brer Erich, one of the quarries. And I was basically camped right on the top of one of those crags. I think it was called Black Crag and East Gully maybe, from the map. And over this way you can see the Larry Grew. It's just wonderful. Anyway, I'm just stopping and doing a bit to camera to catch my breath and get some energy back because I'm quite tired. Anyway, onwards we go. Let's see how far we can get around. Oh, the summit. Here we go. This is Cairngorms, which is the 4th highest summit in Scotland and the UK, and the views now are just opening up this fabulously. You can see all the other 4,000 foot peaks. Anyway, what I was going to say is, yeah, I've started to meet more people. This is one of the locations, I sometimes talk about places and I say they sound remote, but they feel remote and they're not. This is somewhere that is remote, but sometimes feels like it's not remote because there's that many people, which you'd expect because there's Monroe's and it's Easter. Got lots of people coming and going, but anyway, let me just grab the camera and I'll do a quick spinny around you so you can see what I'm looking at. Right, I'm just coming over to the edge here so you can get a better view of what I'm looking at. Oh, God, the snow's soft and deep. It's ankle breaking stuff if you get a bit between the rocks. So I'll spin you around and show you where I've been. So over yonder there's Brer Erich there, which is where I camped on, and then over here is, over the back actually was that top, where is it? There, Carnacreech, and then in front of it, Scuran Loch Anune. And here we are on Cairngorms, and then if I spin you around here, you can see the 2 on the other side, which is going to be a nightmare. You've got Ben, MacDowie and Cairngorms over there, so that's the objective for today and tomorrow. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get. I'd like to get up to Ben Mac, but I'm not sure I'll make it that far. But what a place, what a place. Right, I'll put you away and we'll get going before the next person comes up. Let's do it. Another wee top here. I'm not too sure if this is over 4,000 feet or not, this one, but just in case it is, I'll go over and give it a wee touch. There we go. And I can see now, I can see where I've come from, but I'm quite worried about the ascent. Let me show you around here. I'm going to go head down to the Devil's Point where I don't think there's any snow, but this is Ben Mac there, and I've got to drop down away down to the valley, and I'm going to be heading up here, so that's going to be painful later on. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy this sort of stroll across the plateau to Stow and then worry about that painful ascent. As I said, I've got nothing to rush home for, so it's going to take my time. Right, down we go. Out of winter, we're dropping down below that 4,000 foot contour. And this, I don't know if you can make it, a wee dimple is the Devil's Point, and that's classified as a Monroe. And it's a bit of a cheek. It's one of these ones which maybe should be a top, I don't know. I think I might say. But there's not much of a reascent up it. Just a wee nubbin at the end of the ridge, really. Looks more of a peak from down below, but anyway, let's go. I'll bring you back on the top of the Devil's Point and give you the wee story of why it was called that. On I headed down out of the snow, and walking was so much easier without having to plunge your foot into that soft snow. And I was now getting towards the end of the sort of western side of the route and ridge, and this was going to be my 5th summit of the day, although it wasn't a 4,000 foot one, it was still a Monroe. Oh, right, here we are on the summit of the Devil's Point. And I was going to tell you the wee story why it's called the Devil's Point, and most of you will know this because it's been written in all the Monroe books and all the descriptions you see of it. It talks about Queen Victoria and what have you. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, the Gaelic pronunciation of this, which I'm not going to try and pronounce,
but the meaning means the devil's penis. And apparently Queen Victoria came up here, probably from the Balter side I would have thought, down towards Derry Lodge, and saw it and was blown away by it and asked her Billy, who I think was called John Brown, I might be wrong there, played by Billy Connolly I think in the film, I might be wrong there as well, but anyway, he didn't want to embarrass her or embarrass himself by calling it the devil's penis, so he called it the devil's point, and the name stuck after that, apparently, so the story goes. Whether it's true or not, who knows, but I tell you what, it's a fine viewpoint. It's just a tiddler compared to these ones. It's just over 1,000 metres. Again, I don't know what that is in feet, but there's no snow here. The going's been so much easier. With there being no snow, I've been able to make some good progress. So now I'm going to drop down, and then I've got the beast. It's just a beast of a climb. It's going to be really tough actually. I don't know if I'll make it all the way or not, but I'm going to give it a go. So I need to drop all the way down into the Larry Grue, not far from Cairngorms, and then right back up to the second highest peak. It'll be the highest point of this journey as well, back into the winter. Anyway, right, I'll bring you back later on. The next part of the walk was the bit I was most concerned about, because I had to drop all the way down to about 500 metres into the Larry Grue, but it was the climb back up onto the second highest mountain which was causing me the most angst. Anyway, I dropped down, and at the bottom here is a wee bothy called Cairngorms, and apologies in advance to the occupant who I inadvertently woke up. I could see people coming and going when I came down, but I honestly didn't see this chap, as you'll see in just a minute. Very small bothy. This is Cairngorms. Not much room in here. Oh, sorry. I didn't realise there was somebody in here. Apologies. Do you want me to shut this door behind me?
That's alright.
You sure? Alright. Sorry about it. Didn't see somebody actually sleeping down on the bottom bunk. Oh, come up. Anyway, right, let's go. Up. Next stop, Ben McDooey. There we are, we're probably down about halfway now. Just out, probably over halfway. That's the Devil's Point, by the way. It looks a bit more like a proper mountain from here, doesn't it? Anyway, I must have been across this bridge actually. Anyway, I'm at about 550 metres. And Ben McDooey, which I can see from here, which is there, that sits at 1,309 metres, so I don't know, just under 800. 750, 800 metres of ascent to do, so yeah, this is going to be tough, especially with the big backpack on, and I've already done about 600 metres. I found myself on the familiar path of the Larry Grue, but before long I had to come off this and start heading uphill, and this was a bit, yeah, I knew I would struggle with, especially with the camping gear and the filming gear, but I did stop for a picnic, as you're about to see. Right, we're at, what time is it? It's 3:45. And we're at about 850 metres, still about 500 to go. It's just about killed me coming up here. And I knew it would, but it's turned into a beautiful day, and I've just got a coffee cooling, and I'm going to have that and a Scotch egg and a pork pie. I'm not always Scotch eggs, and that should fuel me up to get me up to the top of Ben McDooey, and then I'll be looking for a pitch. But the views down here are just spectacular. You've got Scour of Aim on the left, and then the Devil's Point where I was on the right. Maybe I will take it back about it not looking like a Munro, or it being I don't know, as much of a drop. I don't know. It's fabulous. It's a fabulous day anyway. You can see actually Ben aglow in the distance. Of course, I walked down here last Easter when I came from Aviemore to Perth. I think I said that, and it was similar weather actually. Lovely. Struck it lucky. Right, we'll have this coffee and I'll bring you back in a while. What the footage doesn't really convey is how badly I was actually struggling at this point. It was a tough pull with the, as I said, with the weight on my back, but I knew I had to get going, so I just took my time and kind of plodded up, and before long I was reaching this boulder field. And yeah, it required actually some scrambling. I'm not sure if I took the right route up, but it was quite good fun actually. That's me into the boulder field, as you can probably see. It's sort of grade 1 scrambling actually, but it's nice and grippy. Hoping there's not too much snow further up.
It looks like the snow's got a fair bit of a shift actually today, so yeah, let's scramble up here. I've still got about 300 metres of vertical before reaching the summit, but my god, what a place, look at that. Woo-wee! Right, concentrate Murray, you're in the middle of nowhere. I've got a lovely little perch, there's a breeze, just a beautiful breeze blowing up from the Larry Grew. The sun is keeping me just at the right temperature, and although I've still got about 200 metres of ascent to go, I've just stopped here. I'm going to have to get up there because there's nowhere to pitch here, but I'll show you why I've stopped here. Look at this. Wow, hopefully the camera can convey it. Looking down the Larry Grew and over here to where I've been, the other 4,000 footers just over yonder. That sort of triangular one, Skooran Loch and Ewan. And the big massive corries of Brer Erich round there. Wow. It's going to be hard to pull myself away from here. What a spot. It's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right. After lots of stops and taking in the scenery and just taking my time, I was soon back into the snow line and gaining height, and to my relief I was approaching the summit of Ben Macdooey, the second highest mountain in the UK. It's been a long time since I've been so glad to see a summit, I tell you. Anyway, here we go, top of Ben Macdooey. Oh yes! Second highest mountain in Scotland. Oh, I'm knackered. Oh, I'll bring you back over here. What a view though. The camera's on the trig point, so Ben Macdooey is a fantastic mountain. I think I made a video a couple of years ago when I came in from the London side where I discussed how for quite a bit of time most people thought that this was the highest mountain in Scotland until they got more sort of accurate measurements, and you can see why. It's just such a big sprawling hill. But anyway, I think it's just, the winds are light. I think it's going to be a good camp tonight. So there's a wee bit less snow, so I might go down this way. I'll spin you around and just see if I can spin you around. I'll be out of focus now, but hey ho, let's see. There we go, right. Yeah, I might go down here. Forecast for tomorrow's okay. There is rain moving in later on, so I was thinking maybe try to get a camp with the view over to the other 4,000 foot peaks, seeing as that's where I've come from. So let's go down and see if I can find somewhere, and I'll report back later on. As you can see, the weather was absolutely beautiful, but I was actually a bit concerned about where I was going to find the pitch up here, because there wasn't as much snow as there had been the day before, so I couldn't rely on that covering the rocks, and it was rather rocky up here. Oh right, it's a wee level spot here, a bit gravelly, but there's lots of stones I can use to peg it out. So the tent is going up here with a view over to the route that I've done today, which I might bring you back to later on, but I just really need to chill out. What a view this way as well, it's just stunning. Right, let's get the tent out, try and get it up. It's so nice, it's quite warm as well, completely different to last night. Not as snowy, there's warmth from that. So once I get that tent up, it's going to be glorious. Let's hope the wind doesn't pick up though. Right, let's do it. Right, what we've got tonight is Expedition Foods green Thai chicken curry. We're looking forward to it. Anyway, whilst we're waiting for the water to boil, you can see, well I don't know if you can see, but the view from the tent is taking in all the other 4,000 foot peaks. You've got Brer Erich, Skooran Loch and Ewan and Cairngorms, which I was on earlier on today. So I've only got one left to do, which is I can see cairngorm actually just nipping over the shoulder there, so it's still going to be a bit of work in the morning. My knee's quite sore, did quite a lot today. I think it was about, I really don't know, about 20 kilometres and about 1,700 metres of ascent. So it's just been glorious. So it's been one of those days. I'm starting off with the inversion to this. It's just beautiful. It's just perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna have some tea, then I've got some whiskey, so I'll maybe bring you back as it's getting darker as the sun's going down. Well, I had some tea and I had some whiskey, and it was just so nice. The sun was warming the tent, and I just chilled for a few hours watching the sun lower
eventually, with dusk approaching and sunset. It was a lovely evening. Oh, good evening. It's been a wonderfully summer-like evening until the sun went down, funnily enough, and the temperatures just plummeted almost like within minutes. The snow's all gone to ice. It was quite pleasant sitting in the tent watching the sun fall behind the horizon, and then the skies turned a lovely sort of pastel colours. That was lovely. Anyway, today I checked the stats, about 1400 metres of ascent, and 19.3-4 kilometres. So yeah, I'm pretty puggled, pretty knackered. I was going to talk to you about, I don't know, I'll maybe talk more about it in the morning, but I was just thinking of, hypothetically, just when we're talking about the Devil's Point, mountain classifications, if we were put in the position now, and there was no mountain classifications, no lists or what have you, how would you go about doing it? Would it be metric? Would it be 1,000 metres? Would you, for instance, the 4,000 foot peaks on the other side of the glen there, would they all be separate hills? I don't know, I've got a couple of examples which in Glencoe actually, which I always think about, but I'll tell you what, I'll not bore you with them tonight, I'll bore you with them tomorrow, but for now I'm just hoping the big grey man doesn't come and get me. There might be an aurora tonight. There's also a meteor shower, so yeah, we'll see if we can see any meteors. Although I'm quite tired, I want to go to my bed, so yeah, I'll maybe put up some pictures of an aurora. If not, I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's just before 6 o'clock and I've been up for about an hour, and it was actually snowing when I woke up. I could hear it hitting the tent. It was a cold night. I didn't venture out to see if there was any aurora. There was some cloud coming over and I was cold and I was really tired, so I didn't bother. So I do apologise. I've had a wee look on Facebook and it doesn't look like there was too much last night anyway. So I'll just show you what I'm looking at. Out here, it's starting to clear up a wee bit over towards Brer Erich and what have you. That was lovely. Just as the sun was rising, there was pink clouds scudding by behind the tent, and the sun started to hit the other 4,000 foot peaks. So anyway, it's a deteriorating forecast today. There is rain due in. The clouds might drop in about an hour or two, so I'm just going to try and get up. I might not do too many bits to camera whilst I'm taking the tent down, so I'll probably report back when I'm on the trail. So I shall speak to you in a wee while. Time to get the tent down. So I got the tent down and saddled the backpack, and although today was to be the last day, I still had a fair bit of walking to do, and that was with a sore knee, unfortunately, and I still had my final 4,000 foot peak to ascend, and it was looking a bit foreboding and a bit apocalyptic, as I say in the next bit to camera. But you can see here from the map, I was camped just below the summit of MacDooey, and then I was heading towards the Northern Corries, or the Norries as they're sometimes called, to the summit of Cairngorms before that long painful descent to the car. Right, that's Ben MacDooey. I don't know if you'll be able to make out over there, and then away over in the distance is the other, and that's Sgúr nan Lochanuan, and Carntool just to the left of it. But I tell you what, where I'm going looks blooming foreboding. There's been a big cloud over it. Just there. It's been absolutely, it looks apocalyptic. Look at the sky. I took a wee video on my phone earlier on, it was even worse.
But anyway, the sky up there looks quite nice. But as I said, it's deteriorating, so I'm going to try and get up as quickly as I can. My knee is protesting on the way down. It's quite sore. It's okay at the moment on the flat, but maybe overdone it a wee bit with the big backpack on. But anyway, I'll bring you back in a minute and we'll discuss what defines a mountain. Right, let's go. Let's get some miles in first. Oh. Alright, now I'm at the Norries. I did say it was going to be a bit breezy around about the Norries, and it's spot on. It's a bit more of a breeze here. Don't know if you can hear that or not. Anyway, mountain classifications. So my query is, just because I was thinking about, you know, some of the drops and the reascents from the ones that it's done, is what would you define as a mountain? Not what somebody tells you in a book, not what the Mountain Association of the World tells you. A mountain must be X amount of metres with so much drop. I just wonder what your thoughts are. I mean, just out of interest, really. I mean, I think about it both ways. I think about Bidjin Nam Bian is the one that I was thinking about, because looking at that magnificent mountain from the Anahige, it just looks like, well, it is one big, almost volcano, it looks like. And it's got all these wee subsidiary tops like Screamach and Stobcur and Lochen and Stobcur Bay. But would you, if nobody sort of told you those were separate mountains or Munros or tops, would you just classify that as one mountain? Do you see where I'm coming from? And conversely, on Evocativ Moor, I know there's Stob Gerrard obviously, but I always think the one in the middle, is it Stobcur Atrium or something like that, is way more impressive than the actual Munro at the end. And height wise as well, I mean, some of these peaks here are 3 or 4 times the height of Stack Polly, but Stack Polly is one hell of a mountain, isn't it? Anyway, I wouldn't know where to start, to be honest with you, so maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing people have come up with lists to keep us right, keep us on our toes. It can be a bit of a strange one, but anyway, at the end of the day, who cares? It's just a mountain to get up and have fun on, isn't it? Right, on to the final 4,000 foot mountain. Oh, knees sore, legs are sore. I'll be looking forward to getting to the top. Not looking forward to the descent. Right, let's go. Oh, right. Done about 5 kilometres from leaving the tent. Just stopped to take some painkillers. My knee's going to be sore on the way down. But anyway, the final pool. There we are, the final 4,000 footer. Up to Cairngorm itself. Without further ado, let's tackle this final mountain. Before long, I was ascending up the final ascent of the trip with the Cairngorm Plateau stretched out behind me and all the peaks that I'd been up. It was wonderful, but I tell you what, I was glad when I saw the summit of Cairngorm. Well, here we are, I think at the Cairngorm station. Oh, what a trip this has been. I'm just going to head over to the big cairn actually, because I think that's maybe the true summit as opposed to this doodah here, but views are fantastic. And the weather, I'm well ahead of the weather front, thankfully. I'll bring you back over here. Ah, yes. Dink, dink. Yes. The final summit of my wee voyage. Wow, what a trip. What a trip. And yeah, I can see back over, as I said before, over to the hills that I've been on. There's some lenticular clouds forming. It's actually blue skies. I am early though, it's only just past 8 o'clock now. So it's taken me about an hour and a half, maybe a bit more than that to get over. But what a place, what a trip. What a trip. I've taken 3 days. There's a reason for that and I'll come on to that. I'll probably meet you back in the office at the end to go through a few things, but you can do this in a day, a long summer's day, or some people will do it in 2 days, but I decided to do it in 3, and I'm glad that I did. What an amazing trip it's been. So I'm just going to take in the views here, take a few more bits of footage, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the way down.
After enjoying the views from the final peak of the adventure, it was time to head down, and yeah, as I said, the knee was a bit sore, so I wasn't looking forward to the descent because it's always sorer on the downhill sections. But yeah, I headed down, and the paths in the Cairngorms National Parks are really quite good. So I got into one of those, and before long, I was back down in the trees and forests and heading towards the car park and the van. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip. But here's me back in the office to give you a few bits and bobs and more information on what I did and how I found it. Right, I'm back in the office. I've got my notes here for this bit to camera. And what a great trip that was. I suppose the first thing I need to say is it's a serious place. Like I alluded to at the start of the video, it's probably one of the most arduous environments in the UK, just due to its height and elevation. The Cairngorms, you know, it's quite remote when you get in there. There's no through roads, and there are, again, like I said in the video, there are people kicking about if it's a nice day and it's sunny. But those plateaus are just there's unfortunately numerous accounts of fatalities up there. So keep it for good weather, like I did. I mean, I'll come on to it in a wee while, but there was once or twice when the cloud was starting to lift, and even though I had my map and compass and also my GPS and my phone, it was really disorientating. And that's in, you know, that was just in a spell of half an hour when I could see where I was going and the cloud came in. So yeah, your navigation does have to be spot on up there, much more so than in other hill ranges, I personally think, just because when you're up there, it's pretty featureless, and especially in winter, when there's cornices and steep drops, you do have to be careful. And the weather, as I said, there's not many places to shelter up there if it comes in and if you're camping. Again, I'll come on to that. But I chose this. I was backwards and forwards on whether I was going to do the 4,000 feet peaks in the Cairngorms, because the weather kept changing right up until literally I left the house to drive up there. It was changing, and the days prior to me going, I was keeping an eye on the forecast, and I think the day before I left, I was actually going to be doing a round in the west of Scotland, but then it changed again, and yeah, I'm glad that I went. I mean, it was amazing. That morning when I woke up, it wasn't forecast to be an inversion, but anyway, it was. So that's yeah. I had plan Bs and plan Cs in place just in case the weather was going to change, but it didn't. So I was quite glad of that. It's quite a well-known route. Again, I chose it because other people have done it, and I didn't really have much time to plan. One of my usual kind of more unique maybe, or something different routes. So I went for this one, and I decided to do it over 3 days. It can be done in a day if you're relatively fit. You can start early. The long summer days, you could easily do it in a day if you're fit enough. A lot of people will choose just to do it over 2 days and camp at round about the halfway point at Carrower, which is, yeah, that would make sense. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to camp high. I wanted to camp near the top of the third highest peak and the second highest peak, which was Brer Eric and Ben Macdui, which is what I did, and I'm so glad that I did. I wouldn't have had that morning sunrise had I not done it. So, and I just wanted to take my time. I didn't want to rush. There's extra weight in the bag with the camera gear. As I've said about a zillion times before, my camera gear actually weighs more than the camping gear. So I didn't want to kind of put any pressure on myself to rush around. And sometimes it's just nice to slow down, isn't it? It's just, there seems to be this, I don't know, maybe not with everyone, but sometimes it's like seeming to be better if you could do it in a record time, or, you know,
you're able to do it in a day or in so many hours, but I'm the opposite of that philosophy. I think just slowing down and being able to take in the landscapes and the wildlife and the weather and the environment, it's just for me, that's why I do it. I don't do it to break records. I don't think I'd be able to. I can maybe break records for the longest time to do it, but certainly doing the filming forces me to slow down and stop, and I really quite enjoy it. Anyway, so it was done over 3 days, and I'm glad that I did it over 3 days. It gave me that kind of relaxing, no pressure. Although the weather was on the slide on day 3, I just made sure I got up super early, as you saw. So let's have a quick look at the statistics. The total distance that I did, according to my Garmin watch, was 42.04 kilometres, and the total ascent was 2,717 metres, but that was for the 3 days. Let's have a look at each of the individual days here on the computer. So, on day 1, which was from, let me just have a look here. Yeah, that was from the Sugar Bowl car park up to Bray Rarick. That was quite tough going. The snow as well, really, you know, I knew there was snow there, but for parts of it, especially on day 1, it was quite deep and soft, so I was kind of breaking trail, which adds a lot of effort and makes your muscles sore and your knees, which I'll come on to as well. But anyway, that was just under 12 kilometres. Took me just over 4 hours to get to the top of Bray Rarick, or to the camp spot. And the elevation gain, or the ascent on day 1, was 1,087 metres. Let's go on to day 2, which was the biggie. That was a big day. So day 2, let's have a look here. Yeah, we started at just off the summit of Bray Rarick and headed along the western side of the Larry Grew, or these big massive peaks. Total distance was just under 20 kilometres, 19.29. Took me just over 10 hours, or maybe 10 and a half hours just about. And the ascent was 1,353 metres, and I felt every one of those with that big backpack on. And into the final day, which you'd think would be the easier day, but it was still a bit, yeah, it was about the same amount of distance covered in day 3 as there was in day 1, just under 12 kilometres, or just over 11. It took me just under 4 hours with filming and all that sort of stuff. And elevation gain and ascent was 276.5 metres on day 3. And day 3 was probably the toughest because my knee was sore. It's the first time I've had a sore knee like that for quite some time. I have been doing my physio, but I think just the weight of the bag, the distance travelled, and the fact that I was breaking trail on the snow did contribute. And I had the extra weight of having the crampons and the ice axe and my winter gear. I wasn't lightweight, you know, because it was winter conditions. Although that was Easter and we were kind of towards the end of April, it was a late Easter this year. That's the other thing about the Cairngorms. It can be winter any time of the year up there. It's the only place in Scotland which has almost like a tundra-like environment, and it's more akin to, I suppose, you know, places in Norway or Scandinavia, just because of its elevation and climate. As I said, it's a pretty wild place. So yeah, it's you know, although it's quite a relatively kind of well-known route, you still got to be careful with the weather and the conditions, and you know, if you've got the big backpack on like me, it definitely takes it out of you. But it was worth it. I mean, it was worth it. I think that's probably one of the best sunrises I've ever had. Just because I wasn't expecting it. I honestly didn't. It wasn't forecast, and the forecast was actually stating that there was a 30% chance of cloud-free Monroes, rising to 70 as the day went on. So I was actually going to sleep in because I thought that it was an improving forecast. So I'm glad that I got up for that. Hopefully, you know, the beauty of it was conveyed in the footage that I caught. It's never as good as what it's like when it was there, and plus the fact there was no wind. So although it was below freezing, I was just walking about, quite warm. It was just perfect. As I've said
before, spring is my favourite time of the year, and especially in those sorts of conditions where you've still got a bit of winter. In fact, although it's spring, in the cairngorms that was winter conditions. It's probably more wintry conditions than I've had for the rest of that winter, because the winter's been really poor. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Hopefully that's been, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next week for another adventure. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.